Right, everyone. So we're back here to talk about the magician, and he is card number one in the tarot deck. As I've said before, the image that I'm placing up is actually from a tarot deck that will be released in November. And if you are interested in one of these decks, you can actually contact me and you can place a pre-order for one of the decks as well. It's one of the ones that I've designed, and it comes with a beautiful booklet, and the cards actually come in a little wooden box. Now I've got a little helper here that escaped out of the house and came to my office, and this is little Albert. So apparently he's going to help me read my tarot cards today. Hey Albert. Little angel. Right. He just loves being with daddy, so yeah. So right, let's delve into the magician. So first I'm just going to show you guys some different magicians as well. When we look at the Morgan Greer, we've got a very traditional tarot imagery. We see all four of the elements here. It's the pentacle, the cup, the sword, and then obviously also the wand. Please note on the lemniscates at the top, there's always the white and the red flowers, and then of course he's usually wearing a cloak. We see very similar in my favorite deck, which is the Wizard's Tarot by Corinne Keller, also the cloak, the different so the wand, sword, cup, pentacle, and the red and the white flowers. We do have the candles there in between, and again the lemniscates. And we'll see the same in the Druidcraft Tarot, also all of the different elements, the lemniscates right there on the belt. Here once again, the lemniscates, the red flowers, the white flowers, the cloak, all of the elements of the suits. It does change a little bit when we get to a very modern deck, which is the Light Seers, and we can still see the four elements. If you look very closely, you'll see little symbols there that represent the elements. You still got the lemniscates, the cloak, but we don't see the flowers in this one, and we're going to get to that one just in a little bit. So when we start looking at the magician, it's usually like you've seen a man in a cloak holding the four different elements, and his keywords are inspiration. He's all about direction, willpower, empowerment, and he knows how to bring heaven and earth together. And that's a very important one to also remember. So traditionally the magician stands with one arm raised over a table on which lies the symbols of the minor arcana, or the elements, which would be the cup representing air, the cup representing water, the sword representing air, the wand representing fire, and then lastly the pentacle, which represents earth. And while the wand of the magician is usually held in his hand, that represents his command over these aspects of life and suggesting that he is a conduit of unseen powers. Now, the figure 8 symbol, the lemniscates, that's associated with the cards appear either on the pattern of his cloak or above his head. We saw one where it's on the belt, on one it's on the hood of his cloak, and that represents the infinite circle of the polarized energies of nature. Hey, mister, are you gonna help? Are you gonna help? Okay, do I get a kiss? Right, so apparently he's helping. Right, so let's delve into the magician. Now, the magician is the master of the physical world. He's able to convert energy into matter and to be in time and space in conformity with his will. So we ended off with the Fool talking a little bit about manifestation and about getting what you want out of life. manifesting that energy that the Fool works with. And here we are the magician, and he has gotten to a certain goal. He has already started manifesting, and this is what it's all about. He's obviously learned that he needs certain tools to manifest a certain energy into this world. So when we start looking at him, he is the master of actually bending the time and space to bend it to his will, to make the things that he wants to make in this world, to achieve the goals that he actually wants to achieve. He's got all of the tools in front of him. He's got the basic know-how of how to do it. And that's what we're seeing in this card. And I just love this representation of him, how he's bringing everything to life, and he's looking at the lessons that he's learned, and he's looking at the different tools that he's got, and he's saying, okay, well, this is what I want. I am going to put willpower towards it. This is the direction that I want to go with. Of course, that comes with a lot of inspiration as well. And I am now going to do this. The magician is a call of action. He's actually already in the action. He knows what he wants. And I think that's the most important part of this card, is the fact that the magician actually knows what he wants. He knows what his direction in life is. He's got the inspiration. He's got the know-how. But before he casts any spells, he has to raise his magic wand like a lightning rod, and he uses it to channel cosmic energy and knowledge into a magical circle. And this is the thing about him. He's got the tools. Part of that tools is knowing, I do not know everything yet. So when we start drawing this card, this is also the card that says, maybe you should ask for some advice. Maybe you should study a little bit. Maybe you should do a little bit more research on the subject as well before you just tumble in. And yes, the magician is very much the fake it till you make it card, but he also knows that he needs to eventually make it. This is the type of businessman who's never had a business, but he walks in with this perfect business plan. He's got no actual experience of running a business, but he's faking like he's the best businessman on earth. He's got the plan. He knows what to do. He's got an accountant that works with him. He's already got staff that's going to be working for him. He's done all of his homework, but he still needs to learn how to actually do it. And that he's only going to learn as he goes along by doing it. Yes, he could do some more research on it, definitely, but he needs to move forward with his plan, with his manifestation as well. Now, as you all saw in the cards, we have red roses there, and we've got white lilies. Now, the red roses usually shows that he's got a massive passion for whatever he wants to accomplish at this point in his life. And the white lilies represent his purity and his innocence. And this is something that we see being drawn over from the Fool card, that purity and that innocence, that almost ignorance to a certain point, that naivety. He's bringing that with him because this is still something new for him. It is a new journey that he's approaching. And even though he might look like he's the master of everything, he still does have quite a bit to learn. So when looking at the magician, he's bringing heaven and earth together in so many ways, and we're going to talk about that just now. But the biggest thing here is he's holding the wand. The wand is the main element that he is currently using. And that has got to do with all of his passion. There's so many dreams, inspiration, passion, ideals that he wants to get to. And then you see the second one that your eyes usually fall on would be on the pentacle itself. And when we start looking at the pentacle, that is the monetary place. That's the physical. It's the mundane, so to speak. So he's got everything kind of in place already, because in many ways that's his circle. That is the logical logistics of everything. It's the material part. He's saying like, well, this and this and this needs to be in place. Then next you'll usually see his sword line there, which says, well, he has thought about this very logically. He's been kind of brutal with himself, but since it's laying a little bit further away, it's still that thing of, you know what, he doesn't think anything's going to go wrong. And then you've got the cup that says, well, there's still emotion attached to this, but hopefully it's only good emotion. That's obviously what he's hoping. And when we start looking at his hands, in most cases, one points up and one points down. So we see it in this card, you know, one hand up, one hand down, and you'll see that he's actually pointing. And we'll see the exact same in this card. Just move it there. Yeah, there you'll see that he's actually pointing a finger downwards while holding the staff or the wand upwards. We see the same here. And even in this very modernized deck, we see one going up, one pointing down, and even in this one as well, up and down. Now, there's a reason for the up and down. It's the bringing heaven and earth together. It embodies that ancient axiom that says, as above, so below. We see it a lot in paganism, as above, so below, so mote it be. And that is the belief that life on earth reflects higher principles and ideals. Now, the magician believes that this is his life's purpose. Whatever he's doing here, there's a purpose to it. There's a life purpose. It's more than just a dream. It's divinely guided. It's cosmic. He believes it's so much greater than just him. He believes that he can change the world. See where the fool comes in. There's still that childlike belief that every small thing that he accomplishes or starts in his life will reflect and change everything. And in many ways, that is completely true. He's aware without being aware. See, he's just being a little bit arrogant and a little bit ignorant, but in actual fact, he understands what so many people don't, is that every small decision that you make actually ripples out. It becomes this butterfly effect. And he's aware that whatever he does, there's this bigger purpose to it. And the same is for you and me sitting here making this video. There is actually a bigger purpose to it. Somebody might see it. They might make a life decision because of it. Their life will ripple out. They will make decisions, and those decisions will ultimately affect the lives of other people, and so forth, up to the point where in a few years from now, it would have affected every single person on this earth. And it will continue to affect every single person that will ever be on this earth for as long as the earth is still turning. And that is the beauty of this card, is he believes he's great. And without truly knowing how great each and every one of his decisions, his ideals, and his dreams are, how big the manifestation truly is when it starts rippling out, that he might be as small as a grain of sand, but he is actually affecting the entire beach. And that is the beauty of this card. The beauty is within that innocence, that he believes it, but he doesn't realize that it's real yet. And yeah, it's truly a very interesting concept, a very interesting card. Next up, he's got his 4 magical tools. Now, that represents also that he is working obviously with earth, air, fire, and water. Now, we might see that as a lot, but as I've just explained, he's looking at the emotions. He thinks he's crossed the T's, he's started the I's, and he's ready to rumble. But now we're looking at the lemniscates on top of his head. It's that 8 figure on its side, and that symbolizes infinity and eternity, because everything that he does will ripple out. into infinity, into eternity. It will never stop rippling out. And then lastly, you'll see that in most of the cards, traditionally, he would wear white with a red cloak over, with the exception here and there that you've got black and gold. It does depend on the tradition that the cards are taking, but there will usually be something to symbolize, even if it's within the flowers still, that says that, yes, with the red, the white and the red, it says he might become a master in his field, but at the same time, he will remain a student of the universe. So white is initiation, it's being a student. Red is usually saying you are now a master in your field. And that's what we're looking at with the magician. And that brings me back to a story that I told within the Fool about where you can walk into a room with 50 other people and you might be a master in your field, but just remember you are a student to each and every one of those people in their room, because they will be a master in their own specific field as well. So yes, the magician is still learning. The magician thinks he's crossed the T's, he's dotted the I's, he knows how to do it, but he has to bring that heaven and earth together. He needs to bring that belief within himself towards the work that he's done within the journey that he's on. And now he needs to look at having the willpower and the direction and the inspiration to actually follow through on his plan. And he cannot do that if he doesn't think highly of himself, because he won't follow through. So that is something to really look at this. It is kind of a fake it till you make it, but at the very same time, the card goes much deeper than that, because as he fakes it, he is making it. He is learning as he goes. And that is probably one of the most important things of this card, is he's learning on the job. And he's doing a pretty good job at it. And he's got so much determination and he's got so much willpower that he can achieve anything that he puts his mind to, and will actually be with minimum mistakes because he has done his homework. He does have some life experience behind him, and he needs to remember that whatever he does is rippling out in the universe. And at the moment, he just believes in this bigger purpose for himself, but in time he will realize it's much bigger than that, that it is in actual fact affecting everything that will ever be. So yes, so that is the magician. Albert, say bye. Say bye. Tell them we'll be back with the high priestess. Hey. Okay, guys, I'm gonna see you again just now. Bye.